Hey, 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 welcome. Today is going to be a quiet one. I just felt like I needed something soft, something peaceful. And I picked up a few coloring books that felt like a little escape. Last week, I shared this post right here, and I mentioned that I can't do a no buy challenge. I'm just not cut like that. I have to do a low buy. And when I mentioned that, this post right here, a lot of you commented and you wanted me to share the coloring books that I have purchased. And that's what I'm doing today. We are sitting down and we will slowly go through these coloring books together, okay? No rush, just a calm moment. This is Touch Grass, illustrated by Jen Racine. I got this book because I think I needed it the most because I'm always on my phone. This is a reminder to me that I need to touch grass. Let's take a look inside. What I like about this book is that Jen gives you things that you can do to stay off of your technology or to unplug. And I think these illustrations are pretty good because, for example, right here, she says, watch a nature documentary. She's kick back and here's the TV right here. And there's another one that I really think is so cute. This one. Go out and let the sun touch your face. Look at that. The sun is touching her face or his face. And it actually is the sun. I like this. It's so cute. Then she says here, go to the library to get you some books. And I really like this. I think this is so cute. Little crochet stuffed creatures, I believe. Learn to do that. I don't know how to do this. But she has all these things that you can do to touch grass. So touch grass doesn't literally mean you go out and touch grass. It means to what? Unplug from digital stuff, technology, your phone, your iPad, all that stuff. Yeah. And I tell you, I really needed this book. I'll be coloring in it every time I start thinking about I need to unplug. Let me grab this touch grass coloring book. A Victorian Spring, illustrated by Deborah Muller. The reason I purchased this book is because look at that hat. Don't you just love that hat? Don't you love this dress? Well, this captured my attention and I just had to have it because I want to color some hats and some nice little Victorian dresses. Let's take a look inside here. This coloring book feels very elegant. Very elegant. Look at her hat and her dress. The little roses on the dress. That is so pretty. And also, as I'm flipping through this coloring book, I feel like I'm stepping back into another time. Look at that. Look at the hat. I love hats. I love hats. There is something really gentle about these pages. I love this too. I love it. Yes. Yeah, I bought this from Amazon.com. I forgot to mention that. But look at the hats and look at the way the characters are dressed. I really like this book. I'm so glad I purchased it. When I saw the flip through as well as the cover, first the cover, then the flip through, I had to have it. I can already imagine taking my time with this coloring book. Whatever I color, look at that. I would just take my time. I would not rush because, hey, I'm stepping back in time and I want to make this character look as nice as possible. Look at that. Yeah. I can see myself coloring every illustration in here too. And when you like the illustrations, you're more, at least I am, I'm more likely to color. Look at this. I like her eyes. It's so pretty. And look at the hats. I'm just in love with this coloring book. I can't wait to start getting into it. This is a Victorian Spring, just in time for spring. Pop Manga, Paint and Ink by Camellia de Erico. I was in Walmart. This caught my attention. It said, "Hey, check me out." So I reached on the shelf and I started flipping through it. But what caught my attention was the paint and ink. And then here on the little circle, it says watercolor and marker friendly paper. So after I checked out the illustrations, I decided that I would buy it. The illustrations are dreamy. I really like them. I love this. It is so adorable. Yes. And it looks so peaceful. They just look peaceful. This will be a peaceful illustration to color. Calming too as well. And some of these also look dreamy. So of course when we are sleeping and we're dreaming, right? We're in a peaceful state. And I really like these illustrations. I really do. The paper has texture. It's not heavy, heavy paper, but it feels like it would be watercolor friendly. This is one of my second favorite illustrations in here. This looks fun. It looks like it would be fun to color as well as like if you just look at the character. It just looks fun. And this is the illustration on the front. Yeah, I like that. I can see myself coloring these illustrations. Dreamy, 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 dreamy. Yes, I like that. I'm not going to flip through all of it, but I just wanted to go through the book with you to let you know that I got it. And I purchased it mainly because I should be able to use watercolor in it. I like this one too. Yes. And that is the Pop Manga Paint and Ink by Camellia de Erico. Flower Fantasy. I had decided that I would just purchase this when it comes to the United States, but a good coloring friend sent me a website and I could not resist. Here is my coloring book by Mel Pamini. Thank you, Miss Jen, for putting me on to that website. I appreciate you for looking out for your girl. Thank you so much. Let's take a look inside Flower Fantasy. I enjoy flowers a lot, and there's a lot of flowers in this book. A lot. I think this is something that Mel Pamini was coloring on her channel, and she did a beautiful job. Yeah. This feels light and it feels playful. It feels dreamy and whimsical. I think it has a lot of that in here. Everything is pretty. I can see myself coloring every illustration in here. And for me, with a Mel Pamini book, it's hard for me to say that about every book that I have that I would want to color every page. But this is one of those books. Yeah. Oh my goodness, look at that. You have the cat, and usually the water would reflect the cat, but instead we have a floral cat here, which is very nice. I like that. Sometimes we just want something pretty and uplifting, and this book feels uplifting to me. Very much so. Very uplifting. And that's what this feels like. That's nice. I'm trying to get to the page that I saw in here that I just love. And maybe this is it. Oh my goodness. I can see myself coloring this. This is just like so surreal. It's beautiful. I thank you again, Jen, for putting me on to the website to order this book, Flower Fantasy. This is Ziflin's coloring book featuring illustrations by Kirby Rosanes. It's called Doodle Invasion. I purchased this from Amazon. When I received this book, I almost returned it immediately because of the paper, but I decided to keep it, well, because it's Kirby Rosanes, of course. This was published in 2013, and I learned about this book from Reddit. Yeah, frequent Reddit, and I be discovering a lot of different stuff on Reddit when it comes to coloring books. This one is definitely more detailed, and as you can see, I've started coloring in this book. It's the kind of book where you can really get lost for a while. You see that? I could get lost in here. I also think that it's the kind of book that when I want some quiet time and I just want to focus on being still with no devices, this is my touch grass coloring book right here. There's a lot of neat little doodles in here that Kirby did a long, long time ago. This is detailed, and I'm okay with details. Y'all know me. I'm okay with details. It just will take me longer to do it. I like this right here. It's really unique here. Yeah, I don't mind taking my time, having some quiet time to just focus on Doodle Invasion. Again, this is my touch grass coloring book. This is a more detailed coloring book for those of you who like those types of coloring books. I like to have a variety of books, and detail is okay with me. I find it relaxing. Yeah, this is neat here. You know, I haven't really flipped through this book. I think that is cute. Yeah. I wish the paper was a little bit better though. Yeah. But I find the little illustrations are really cute. Cute little Doodle Invasion book. All right. Look at that. That frog. He has a big old smile, doesn't he? And that is it for Doodle Invasion. Leon's Journey. Now, this coloring book is a little special because I have two versions of this coloring book. I have the American version or the US version right here, which is the one that I recently purchased from Amazon.com. And I also have the Japanese version that I purchased, I think last year, maybe, from yesasia.com. I thought it would be nice to look at these coloring books side by side for a moment. Let's take a look at the covers. With my American copy or US copy, and do know the US copy is on the left and Japanese is on the right. The US copy just has the regular cover here. The Japanese copy, however, has a sleeve, a cover sleeve on it. And also what I noticed is that the you the Japanese coloring book is a tad longer. Not much, but it's a little bit longer than the American version, but it's the same width. Also, the reason why I purchased the US version is because I wanted to see these pages. I wanted to have them in my coloring book. These pages here. They are so gorgeous. Yes, gorgeous. The Japanese version does not have that. It just goes straight to the introduction page here. Another difference that I have noticed is the paper. In the American, I keep saying American, US version, the paper feels heavier to me, slightly heavier, which means it's a little thicker. When I check the paper here in the Japanese book, it doesn't feel as heavy. It feels thinner, but it also feels smooth, but like it has a slight texture to it. Whereas my US version is really smooth and it doesn't have as much texture. Yeah, as this one does. But still, both of the papers are smooth, but there is a difference in them. And also, what I noticed is the difference in the ink. It's kind of hard to tell. You have to really be looking at it. I'm going to open the Japanese book here. And I don't know how well you can see this on camera, but the Japanese version, which is at the bottom here, it tends to have a softer line art, softer and a tad lighter, softer and lighter. Whereas with the American or US version, I noticed that the ink is darker. It's a little bit darker than what you see in the Japanese version. And another thing that I've noticed is that in the Japanese version, there are two extra pages in the back of the book. These are postcards here. Then there are 4 additional illustrations here. 2 illustrations, postcards, 4 illustrations here. And there's something on the back of this. I don't know like what the purpose is of this, but it's here. And we have the 4 illustrations here. But in the US version, there is none of that here in the back. And then we have Kanoko Agusa's picture here, whereas in the Japanese book, her picture is not there. I'm beginning to think we're US is not really US, what I'm about to say is that US is more visual. They like to put more visuals. And it seems like with the Japanese book, it's not, it doesn't have a lot of visual or color, which is fine with me. And I noticed that with a lot of the other coloring books that I have that are Japanese, they're like that. And on the back here, we have the pages that are in the beginning and also more little coloring here. But on the back here, we have this and we have our rest of our book cover here. I'm glad to have the US version. Leon's Journey is one of my favorite books by Kanoko Agusa. She's one of my favorite illustrators anyway. It's interesting how the same book can feel a little different depending on the version. They both have their own charm, and I'm glad that I have both of them in my collection. Secret Garden, Artist Edition by Johanna Basford. I thought that I was being smart by ordering a used copy from Amazon.com of the Secret Garden Artist Edition. But here's what happened. The used copy was $7.99. I should have known that that was too good to be true. When I received my order, it was not this book. It was a music book with sheet music and some songs in it for kids. I sent that back with the quickness. You hear me? That taught me a valuable lesson, and that lesson is that if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. And I learned that lesson the hard way. But here's my coloring book. This is the artist edition. Let's take a look inside. As I open up the book, it feels like a breath of fresh air just hit me in my face. It's beautiful. This paper is heavier. It is a heavy cardstock paper. And you can take this out and frame it if you like. That's what I'm going to be doing in the future. I like this page here. I like whales because when I see this, let me tell y'all a quick story right quick. I used to work at a place where I went to collect water samples. And this was in the late 90s. And when I went to this elderly lady's home, she had a well just like this. I was so shocked, but yet fascinated by the fact that for me to get the water sample, we had to roll the little bucket down into the well to collect the water. Of course, the water probably was contaminated. It wasn't probably, it was contaminated because it's open, anything can get in there. But anytime I see an illustration like this, it always brings back that memory. That lady was so sweet too. And I love illustrations like this with the whales. This paper is heavier. It's a cardstock. And also you can frame this. And that's one reason why I purchased this coloring book. I already own the Lost Ocean one. And I wanted to get this one because I'm really enjoying the illustrations in Secret Garden. At first, I did not like Secret Garden. I'm telling you, I gave it away. But then when I purchased it again, I said, I really like this. I really like this page. I've actually started in the coloring book, the regular coloring book, this page, and I have enjoyed working on that page. This feels like something that I could reach for on a quiet afternoon, maybe with a cup of tea. I really like this. How many times am I gonna say that? I love how detailed this coloring book is, but it is still soft and it's not overwhelming. See, a lot going on here, but it still doesn't seem overwhelming to me and it's soft. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. And that is the Secret Garden Artist Edition. There are 20 pages in here. And I can see these being framed, of course, colored beautifully. And hopefully I can give somebody something one day. And the last coloring book that I have to show you is one that I have been wanting for, I know, probably a year and a half to almost 2 years. And I learned about it from Bubble Studio. I left the paper on here because I wanted to show you how this came packaged. I was impressed with everything. This is the book. Behold, the Book of Wildergorn, A Mysterious World for Intrepid Colorers by Jamie Cartier. Yes, I got it. On top of this, and the reason I'm showing you the paper is because I had this on top of here, which I was shocked when I saw this. I said, "What is this?" This is a gift of postcards for me. And let me show you the postcard before I get into the book. This is a note, a card from Jamie the illustrator, and we have a blank postcard with Wildergorn on it. And then here are the additional postcards. Isn't that neat? I was not expecting this at all, but as the illustrator mentions in the card, you can practice, you with your pens and other things that you may want to use. I have 5 postcards and 1 blank postcard. 6. How cool is that? I was not expecting it. It was such a surprise to me. I am grateful for these postcards. And then there's another card that I found in here. It almost got thrown away because I just didn't see it. And I think it's also in here. This is a pretty big book. Pretty big book. And here is the other card that almost got thrown away. It says, "Greetings from Wildergorn and many thanks for your order. Very best wishes. Keep safe. Jamie. Warmest regards." Now let's take a look in this book. Now I can remove the paper. This book is a big book. It's cut off here. Let me show you. This is the top. Let me turn it this way. That's big. The size of this book is 12.6 inches, which is the width, by 16.73 inches, the length. It's a pretty big book. Let's take a look in here. What I like, I didn't know it had bookmarks in here, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look in here. One of the reasons I've never purchased this is because I thought it was just so detailed. But sometimes you just have to get what you get it when you're ready, for the detail. I couldn't have imagined buying this book early in my coloring journey. But this is a book that pulls me into a different world. Most definitely pulls me into a different world. It feels imaginative, and I cannot fit the whole book on the screen, but I'm sure you can see what's going on. As I was saying, it feels imaginative, almost like storytelling on the page here. And here's one here. Now, this is not as detailed as some of the other pages. I like having a mix of calm and a little bit of adventure in my books. How about you? But yeah, this is Wildergorn. The paper is cardstock heavy, and there is a test page in the back, which I didn't know one was back here, but you can see that here, the test page here. So I look forward to coloring in here. I really do. I'm going to have a lot of calm coloring time in this bad boy. It's such a big book, and I'm here for it. Yeah. And that is all that I have to share with you today. My coloring books. This one is Wildergorn by, let me see if I can show you the name, Jamie Courtier. I think more than anything, I was just looking for a little peace. And I feel like I found it in these pages, in these coloring books that I shared with you today. Which one of these coloring books would you reach for first? And I'll see you in the next one. We'll spend a little more time with one of these coloring books, I think. Until next time, keep calm and keep coloring. Bye.